And folks, while our world is on fire, how about yours? To quote the
That's the
holy
way I like it, and
Smash
I'll
Mouth.
never get bored.
We are bringing you we will try not to be too solemn episode of Beef Sticks podcast, but it's going to be somewhat. We have to touch on the issues at hand. That's part of having a podcast, and the biggest issue right now is through the nation, but especially we're podcasting straight out of Minnesota, is George Floyd being murdered by police officers on video. And not that it's ever good to murder anyone, but by God, this was like a 7-minute choking.
It was.
Like, it wasn't like, they shot him in the back 3 times and then they felt bad or they were scared.
Over 3 minutes after he fell unconscious, that officer stayed on his neck.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a legitimate long-term murder, and it's huge. And justice isn't being done swift enough. We hope that justice does come about. Certain things have come, and but before we get into any of our things, I think, Pacey, let's just get right into the top of the show. We have to start it out with the many pro wrestler responses to George Floyd's death.
Yes.
You want to start out? You want me to start out? We got a few of them here.
I can kick this off.
Kicker.
Titus O'Neil posted a lengthy post on Instagram noting the incident was frustrating, hurtful, scary. I'm literally sitting in my car looking at pictures of me and my sons, just come to tears, O'Neil wrote. As a black father, this shit is frustrating, hurtful, scary, etc. I've been able to teach my kids a lot about life, but I'm not equipped to teach or tell my kids or another black or brown kids how to deal with this type of shit over and over again. I doubt very seriously that my friends, coworkers, business partners, etc. that don't look like me have ever had to think about half the stuff I do as a black parent trying to raise 2 black men in this country. I doubt they've ever had to have the talk with their children. I doubt they'll ever have to tell their children how beautiful and amazing they are as much as I tell mine. I doubt they'll have to wonder if their kids will be okay with driving their cars outside of getting into an accident. I doubt they have to go shopping for body cameras to install on their kids' vehicles. I have lots of doubts, concerns, anger, frustration, and questions. What I don't have is answers. That's where many black and brown people are today and have been for years. I can't explain to them that the outrage people have for hurting dogs and animals is deafening, yet the outrage for killing black men and women with a law enforcement uniform on seems to be addressed as business as usual. I don't feel like a superhero. I don't have any answers, and I do feel hopeless in this situation. I'm not okay with this.
Yeah, you can feel his emotions in that.
Yeah.
Jey Uso went on and posted a response on Instagram admitting that he does not speak on social issues very often at all. But he did this time. He posted a caption alongside a photo of Colin Kaepernick kneeling and the police officer kneeling on Floyd's neck. And he said, "Real talk, I never speak on these kinds of situations, let alone post it. I've had my run-ins with police. Some good, most bad. That's my experience. But out of all this hate and racism we live in, this made me think of my kids. In America, my kids will be considered black. When they are men, will they be facing the same struggle? As a father, uncle, it scared the fuck out of me."
Naomi posted a shorter response. "So sick of this happening to our people. On top of that, nothing being done about it. Something has to be done, and many things have to be changed. Rest in peace, George Floyd."
The random white guy Twitter of the week here, Randy Orton retweeted a petition for Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey to bring justice to the case, then took to Twitter and posted the hashtag Black Lives Matter. One fan responded to Orton and told him, quote, "Stop spreading hate and segregation." I can only assume that fan is completely white.
I can't tell you how many people I booted off my friends list for statements like that this week. I ain't standing for any of it.
And that fan ended his post saying all lives matter. Well, Randy Orton wrote back to the fan in actually a very professional way, saying all lives do matter. But the point I was trying to make is that I finally realized that until Black Lives Matter, all lives can't matter. Do you get it?
It makes perfectly clear sense. And if you don't believe it, there's something wrong with you.
For real.
You haven't seen enough. I don't know. Get out there. Make black friends. Talk with them. Listen to their problems. Lacey Evans then tweeted a message saying, "Humans should learn how to humanize humans. Make the world a better place without racism. R.I.P. George Floyd. Hashtag justice for George Floyd."
So that's just a few of the responses that I kind of gathered up here over a couple days. Without going on a long tirade, Pasty, do you have anything you want to say on the issue?
I'm sick of it. Everybody's sick of it. I think the whole nation is sick of it. The way everybody is rising up and coming together. People of every color. It doesn't matter anymore. We stand together in this against injustices done to the people by officers in uniforms who just want to throw their power around. I was down in South Minneapolis off Minnehaha and Lake last night from about 8 o'clock till just before 10 because Kirsten came with and she still wanted to make it to work. Told her I wasn't going to promise it, but we still managed to get back before then. Fortunately, we did leave just before the 3rd precinct got broken into and lit on fire. And just before that, they had shot off hundreds and hundreds of rounds of tear gas and rubber bullets as they were making their leave. I'm assuming they expended all the ammo on site. I'm glad we left before that, but at the same point, it broke my heart to have to walk away from that. The people need our support. In any community, if you can get together and protest with these people. I'm not talking looting. And if you want to burn some businesses, make sure it's big chain businesses. Stay away from the small local businesses with people who have built this on their own backs.
Yeah, Target being burnt down, they're completely, broken into, looted. They're insured. They're not out anything. They're in fact making money off of everything that's stolen or broken. So don't for a second listen to the people saying, "Oh my God, yeah." But yes, I would agree. Stay away from the mom and pop shops that's all they have in their lives.
There was some truth about Target that was opened up in my mind, and I don't want to be too long-winded on this, but I think more people need to know about it. But China has been rounding up people of Hindu religion for a very long time. They put them in these camps and they reprogram them. Sounds very familiar. When they have been reprogrammed and are no longer, touting the Hindu religion, they're not released back into the public. They're sent to work camps. One of these work camps, at least one of these work camps, is a clothing garment factory. And Target started buying garments from this factory. They're fueling the hate around the world, too.
Preach, brother.
Yeah.
And I just want to say a quick little thing. I mean, this isn't new. As a young Native American growing up on a reservation, I dealt with a lot of bullshit. I've had issues with police officers that I honestly didn't think I was going to live through, and I have, and thankfully I have. And I've learned, not only have I learned ways to try to avoid it, which isn't always possible, but luckily for me, I'm light-skinned enough, and I've learned how to behave, talk, even move, I can say. I can be white when I want to be, and not, George Floyd couldn't. George Floyd couldn't be white when he wanted to be. He didn't even have that option. So I just want to say I completely feel this, understand this. I am 100% with all of the protesters. I'm okay with the looters and rioters. Not my choice of doing things, but you know what? Colin Kaepernick tried kneeling on a damn football field, and people got pissed at him for that. So, I mean, if you try to do it peacefully, you get the same hate. So what the fuck is the difference?
Yeah.
At least people are talking about it when you're burning shit down and blowing up cop cars and busting windows. So at least people are talking about it. And the last thing I want to say is Derek Chauvin or whatever his fucking name is.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
The name
Fuck
says
you
it
to
all,
fucking
really,
hell.
doesn't it?
Oh, he's so chauvinistic, the bastard. Fuck you. I want to say fuck you to all 4 police officers. And actually, I want to give an extended worse fuck you to the goddamn Asian officer who's sitting there with a fucking grin on his face.
Yeah.
You goddamn minority piece of shit fucker. You're worse than all them white fuckers there because you know what it was like because you have dealt with it, you piece of shit.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And you can tell it affected him because he did not turn around to look at what was happening once. He kept his attention on the crowd.
No, and he almost spoke 0 words.
Yeah. Yeah.
So fuck him. He's almost worse than the rest of them. That's just my opinion.
I think so too. He should be charged. I think the two, the one on his back and the one on his legs. I mean, they're on his back and on his legs. They're not doing anything to stop it, so there needs to be charges pressed. But
well, the thing is, there's a law, it's a federal law in our government that says if you are involved in a felony that ends up with somebody dying, you can be charged with murder. Because you just happened to be there. You knew that you were doing something illegal, and then somebody died. You're allowed to be charged with murder.
Yep.
I think all 4 of them cops should definitely be charged with murder just on that alone, other than the fact that they literally prevented him from getting help and the rest of it. So they all need to be charged with murder. Various degrees, sure, I'm okay with various degrees of murder, but they all need to be charged with murder.
Yes. The charge for Derek Chauvin is 3rd degree, and I don't think that's enough.
Stupid.
Yeah.
No, that's just ridiculous.
And they're trying to say that his the coroner's preliminary report says that he had underlying heart issues that was the cause of death, to give Chauvin some wiggle room in court, and I think that is totally wrong. I grew up in that neighborhood, 6 blocks from that precinct. As a child, I met Scruff McGruff in that same police station. This sickens me. And I can't blame the people. And you have to know that there are peaceful protests and looting and rioting going on at the same time from completely different groups of people. As of yesterday, probably even before then, insane amounts of people are pouring in from out of state just to incite more and more. So be careful with how you go about things and what you say versus what you know. There's plenty of live streams on the streets 24 hours a day. Learn the truth before you speak.
I think that's about the best. I think that's about the best way to end this, Pasty. So that was an awesome capstone for this whole discussion. Thank you. And with that, we're moving out of this fucking year because we just can't stand this year anymore.
This year, it's
and
not
surprisingly,
even halfway over.
Surprisingly, just a year ago was so much more blissful. And yes, folks, we're going back only a year. We had our longest This Week in Pro Wrestling a couple weeks ago. This may be our shortest one yet. May 25th, 2019, just 1 year ago, AEW planted their flag in the pro wrestling world with Double or Nothing, the very first official all-elite wrestling event. According to Dave Meltzer, there were 11,000 tickets for Double or Nothing sold. Of these tickets, almost all were sold in the pre-sale on February 11th. So over a month ahead of time, almost everything was sold out. And not only that, in about 30 minutes or less to people who had earlier provided their email address, something that has never happened in the pro wrestling world before. Sellouts that quickly have happened? Yes, but for the very first event that's ever happened, no, you usually have to build a brand up.
Yes.
Super amazing. Ticket sales were open to the general public on February 13th, 2019, and sold out in 4 minutes there. On the June 3rd, 2019 edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer wrote that Double or Nothing received roughly 98,000 buys between television and digital pay-per-view, with close to a 50-50 split between the two. That means AEW got about 50% of the money that came in, and the pay-per-view / digital